All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right, what is up, everybody? It is a beautiful Monday, and at least here in the Midwest, we actually have warm weather. It's 80 degrees. It's sunny out. It's perfect grilling weather, man. It's been beautiful the last 3 days. I was only able to enjoy one of those days because I've been moving from Ohio back home. And I know Jay, he lives in the South, so I know this man's hot all the damn time.
Hey, but you know what? Today was beautiful, man. It was low 70s, light breeze. Man, it was nice. It was sunny. Man, it was so nice out today, bro.
Oh,
Can't complain. Can't complain. Almost damn near beach weather.
Right. Now, I will say there is something that you and I, well, I don't know about you, but to me, I can complain about. And that's Jerry Jones in this damn draft that the Cowboys did about a week ago. I'm very disappointed in Jerry. There's some players that were still available on the board. I ain't saying Jerry got to go out and he ain't got to go get the Kyle Hamiltons. He ain't got to go trade up to like 10th pick. Not saying that at all. But some of those picks, man, I was just like, Jerry, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you in the driver's seat? You did so well last year. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Trayvon Diggs. You hit the nail on the head with some of these rookies, and then you fumbled the ball. You fumbled the ball in this draft. What the hell, Jerry? What? Jay, what happened, man? Just what happened?
Well, you know, it's interesting to me. So we didn't move up in the draft. We didn't move back in the draft.
Nope.
Jerry got calls. Jerry got calls to move back in the draft. And for whatever reason, he thought at 24 he was going to do great. And honestly, I thought that after pick 14, the talent just kind of dropped off. And there were, like you said, there were some guys who actually slipped down below that. Jermaine Johnson was one. Devin Lloyd, I believe, was another one. Kobe Dean, Tyler Linderbaum. I mean, there's quite a few that, were out there. And we went with an offensive tackle in Tyler Smith that, I don't know, man. It didn't give me the warm and fuzzy. He's a project at best. Mm-hmm. He's a mauler. He's 6'5", 324. He's a mauler. He's got lots of holding penalties, which God knows the Cowboys have already got issues with holding penalties. Now you're going to go draft a guy who's got holding penalties. I mean, what the hell, Tony?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. It was when I saw Jermaine Johnson drop. We had talked about it on Jawing and Balling. I wouldn't have been upset if we would have got him because then, you have DeMarcus Lawrence on that side. You have Jermaine Johnson on the other. And then you have Micah Parsons in the middle / kind of blitzing on either side if you really want him to.
Right.
Or I didn't think Kyle Hamilton was going to continue to fall. Like once Baltimore got him, I was like, all right, well, he's out. I almost figured Jerry might reach for like that safety out of Michigan, Daxton Hill.
Yeah.
It's like he might reach for him. But I was hoping when we got to 24, like you said, it was like Tyler Linderbaum, solid piece you could have grabbed. Like you said, Jermaine Johnson, or even if you trade back, like I'm all good. You trade that first round pick and you get a couple seconds, get like a fourth, build your draft capital, build your stock.
Yeah.
And didn't do anything with it. I'm like you said, we went from Connor Williams at left guard. I already know Jerry's wanting to replace Tyron Smith because he has injury history. That man got a lot of mileage. He's been in the league 11 years. He's only like 29, but he also like started when he was 19.
Right.
So he got a lot of years under the belt. And you get the kid that was the most penalized tackle in college football to hopefully replace one of the best in Tyrone, who Tyron also has had holding issues here of late because he's been hurt and he's been having to overcompensate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, and then I'm looking at some of the other names and I'm like, man, there were so many better options that y'all could have gotten. And yeah, I feel
Now,
like they.
I'm telling you, one thing I do want to point out. Couple of things I want to point out. Number one, we do have to remember that Zach Martin and Travis Frederick, they were considered reaches when Jerry took them, and of course, they turned out well. So I don't want to say that Tyler Smith can't turn out well, but and honestly, Joe Philbin is going to have his hands full in developing this guy. Like I said, he's not starter ready. They're going to have to really work with him on his hand technique so that he doesn't get Caulfield's holding penalties. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm telling myself, and I know why Jerry took him at the high round, because I think Jerry wanted to work on the offensive line, and I think he figured that Tyler Smith wouldn't make it to him in the second round, when I think that's probably really where Tyler Smith should have been drafted. So I think that's why he did take the leap of faith on it. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, Jerry, come on, man. When you got a guy like, especially this, you just lost Gregory on your defense, and you got a guy like Johnson available to you, I think at that point, I'm thinking Johnson is a better player talent-wise than Tyler Smith was, and I think you kind of go that route.
Yeah, and I agree. I remember when it was Zach Martin and we had the choice. We could either get Zach Martin or we could get Johnny Manziel. And I don't know about you, but I was praying that we didn't get Johnny. I was like, do not. I was like, Jerry, please don't. I was like, please don't. But I will say too, Zach Martin kind of reminded me a little bit of was it Keyshawn Green or kid out of Texas A&M? I know his last name was Green. I can't remember his first name.
I want to say Smith, but I might be wrong. But I know you're talking about. I'm just trying to remember his first name too.
But Zach Martin was already kind of praised as he wasn't the best guard in the draft or considered the best guard, but he was one of those. It was like he is a top 10 talent as far as being a guard goes. So it was like Zach Martin. I heard people say that was kind of a reach. I was like, that's a solid pick. Now I will say Travis Frederick, when that first popped up, I was like, why did we grab a center at 32? I was like, that's weird. Because it was kind of saying he had that real nasty Wisconsin Badger temper. I figured, okay, he may or may not get, holding calls, something like that. And you're right, he ended up being great. I'm hoping this kid isn't that way. I'm hoping he's able to learn from Zach. I'm hoping he's able to learn from Tyron. My big thing, like you said, we needed an edge rusher. Like, we need to replace the defense. This is also one of those. Damian, stop playing. Johnny would have not gotten us to the champ. Stop it. Anyway, it's one of those. It was such a deep draft for offensive and defensive linemen. If you traded back, or even if you did go with a defense or a better offensive lineman option, which to me, Tyler Biadasz is not the answer at center. He kind of did decent for Joe Looney, like filling in at the center position. He was okay. He had his moments. Last year, I kind of expected him to take a little bit more of a step forward. He didn't. I think he's undersized. I think he gets overpowered really easily. And I think he was having to overcompensate because Connor Williams over at the left guard position, he's trying to help him double team people because he kept getting beat.
Right.
And I feel like if you'd have got Tyler Lindenbaum out of Iowa, you would have been in a much better spot because you have a guy that is the size that you need. He is aggressive because if you look at Iowa, probably the two things that they're known for are offensive linemen that are big, they're nasty, they can do what they need to do. And for whatever reason, tight ends. Iowa is like tight end university for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to wait and see on Smith and see how it pans out. But, man, I would have rather – my personal opinion, when you got a need right there at the edge position, and you got a guy like Jermaine Johnson who's ready to go, pro-ready, steps in day one, opposite of Lawrence. I just felt like grabbing him would have been the better move, man. I really just God, I don't know, man. We'll see. But I just felt like Johnson would have been the better move on that one.
Yeah. So let's move on to the second round. And they picked Sam Williams out of Ole Miss. So I'm reading here on ESPN. It said that Dan Quinn attended his pro day. It was one of their top 30 visitors at the Star. He had 12 sacks and 16 tackles for loss last season and was a first-team All-SEC pick. But he has some off-the-field issues, including a sexual battery charge. It was eventually dropped, but had him suspended from the program. And I'll be honest with you, it's one of those. I know some of these young guys, they're in these positions. They're famous now. They can start getting paid while they're in college. They're big names, and they're young. They're dumb. They're full of excitement. But you know what I'm talking about in place of excitement. Yeah. But it's like I get the high risk, high reward. But like you mentioned earlier, and this is kind of off topic for us. I feel like the Eagles stole in the draft. I feel like the Eagles got probably one of the best because they got Nakobe Dean in the third round. Again,
right.
High risk, high reward. I feel like if Jerry would have taken a chance on Nakobe Dean like he did Jalen Smith a few years ago, potentially exact same production. Potentially.
Yeah.
And I feel like you wouldn't have had as big of a potential off the field issue as you may or may not have with this kid. I hope not. I hope not for his sake. I hope it's one of those, stupid college stuff. He grows up, turns around, no issues, and turns out to be a great player. But yeah, I'm like,
the thing about that is I think Nakobe, I think he fell down as far as he did was because of his size. I think had he been a little bit bigger in the size department, we're looking at either late first round or early second round. Had he been just a little bit, and I think that's really what caused him to fall to the third round. But at the same time, I'm not opposed to that. I actually would have liked to have seen them take Nakobe Dean. I think Nakobe Dean, his intelligence, his intuition, his left, right, lateral, sideline. I think he would have been great. The only thing that I think would have challenged him, and at the inside linebacking spot is where his size would have hurt him is at the run stopping ability.
Yeah,
and that's the only downside to him. And I think that's kind of where Sam Williams kind of steps into that. He is an edge guy. He's not an offensive. He's not a linebacker, and they get him listed as edge. But I've also seen him listed in the draft as outside linebacker. Do we know what his actual position is?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know because they signed Dante Fowler. I've seen him do both. I've seen him be outside and defensive end. But that's kind of.
I think that's the way Sam Williams is. I think they could put him at outside linebacker, and I think he also goes to edge. So they do have a little bit of versatility, I think, with him. Because he is a fast. He's got finesse. He's got speed. He does have some technique. He had 9.5 sacks in 19. He had 12.5 in 21. And he's got 32.5 for his total college career. So this guy is flexible. He attacks low, which makes him hard to block. I'm not going to say that Sam Williams isn't a good choice. And I think he's another one that had he not had those red flags, maybe he gets drafted a little bit higher. He doesn't fall to the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. For me personally, I just like Nakobe Dean. I just feel more. I don't know what it is, but my gut just tells me that Nakobe Dean would have been a better choice here, and we're gonna have to wait to see how Sam Williams actually does play when he comes in.
Yeah. Let's see. So then our third round pick was Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. Apparently, he was under consideration. They thought about taking him at the number 56 spot instead of Sam Williams. They get him at number 88. And, of course, Dallas is thinking they definitely need to add a wide receiver since they traded away Amari Cooper for the cap, and then they lost Cedric Wilson to the Dolphins in free agency. He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons at South Alabama, including a almost 1,500-yard, 82-catch, and 8-touchdown year in 2021.
Right.
He had 7 100-yard receiving games last season, including 143 against Tennessee. He's considered a polished route runner for a younger player, and he can go up and get the ball. So that one, I'm not as upset about because that to me does kind of replace Amari because when I think of Amari, I don't think of a big wide receiver that can go get you the ball. I don't think of a guy that can burn you with speed. Amari is just great at his route running. He can break free of his coverage. He can run his route. He'll get you the first down, and you'll be solid. So I'm hoping that's what this kid does. I'm not as upset with this one. It's like there's sometimes they kind of get a few, and I'm like, no, there's better players, Jerry. But this one, I feel like he might be one of those. He flew under the radar, and maybe a lot of people weren't thinking of him because of. I think other teams that are so devoid of wide receiver talent, they kind of already got who they wanted. They got the Chris Olaves, the Mechis, the Williams, the Garrett Wilsons, all of them out early in the first or even early in the second round. So this one I wasn't upset about. Are you kind of feeling the same way? Because we still have Gallup. Although we'll have to see how he does that coming off of an injury. And we still have CeeDee Lamb. I just need CeeDee Lamb to stop dropping the damn ball.
Yeah, I'm the same way. No, I'm okay with Tolbert. Like I said, we got CD in there, and hopefully he will continue to improve and get better at those small things. Gallup, I pray to God he comes off this ACL and can get back into form. But man, listen, we also got Schultz, coming off the tight end spot, who's making his catches as well. So we got a lot of good playmakers. I think he's going to slide in real nicely and take over for where Cedric Wilson left off, and because he can play all three spots. He's a deep vertical guy who can play all three spots. And I like versatility because you never know who's going to go down and where you need to plug him in at.
Yeah.
Got great speed, ran a 4.49 on the 40, couple of 1,000-yard seasons consecutively with 16 touchdowns. The only thing that he needs to work on is making sure he concentrates and sees the ball all the way into his hands before he tries to make that turn to go upfield. That's where he drops a lot of balls is on lack of focus. And if they can work on him with that, which I know they will, and that's not a hard thing to overcome.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be fine. He's gonna fit in real nicely into that spot and grow his wings.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to the fourth round. So obviously Dallas released Blake Jarwin, which I don't know about you. I wasn't super upset about. It was like Jarwin kind of had a history of being hurt. Yeah, he was stuck behind the shadow. Huh?
He was never on the field, but maybe a couple of times. It was like, hey, look, we got Jarwin. Oh, my bad. He's hurt. He's on the DL again. I mean, like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He was stuck behind the whole Jason Witten shadow, and those last couple of years,
he was.
JW, you can kind of go, buddy. You're past your prime, my guy. And I will say they got an absolute steal in Dalton Schultz. So I was kind of like perplexed when they signed Jarwin last year to that big deal, but then they let him go and they franchise tag Schultz. I'm like, you guys did see that Schultz picked up for him the year before last when Blake Jarwin was also hurt, and he did great. And you're not going to sign him now, like why not just knock it out and just do it now, and you don't have to worry about it later. But they end up getting Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin. He was an all Big Ten pick last season. He was productive. He had 145 receptions for over 1,600 yards and 13 touchdowns. And the tight end room is interesting because now they'll have Schultz, Ferguson, Sean McEwen, and Jeremy Sprinkle. Sean, he's kind of, and then I remember Jeremy Sprinkle. I remember him mostly in Washington. He's one of those. He's solid. I feel like he's just more of a blocker. He's just that additional lineman that they can throw in there. While Schultz and potentially Ferguson are going to be more of your pass catching two tight ends. I'm hoping he ends up becoming a pretty decent pass catcher. So again, I'm not super upset about that one because I'll be honest, there weren't a whole lot of tight ends this year, or at least names that I heard that really stood out to me that was like, yeah, that guy. That's got to be the guy that I want to go get. And, Wisconsin, I know Wisconsin more for running backs than I do tight ends and wide receivers. But, I mean, it's not bad. Again, I one more person for Dak to throw to. And I feel like with Schultz as a teacher, if he could pick up on a lot of that, I think we'll be solid. But that's me personally. I think we'll be solid.
Yeah, when I look at Jake Ferguson, he does hold the school record for most games with the catch. He is a target. He's also a very stout blocker, but he lacks speed and he lacks that burst. And he does need to bulk up a little bit in order to be able to handle those edge rushers coming around the edge. But again, bulking up, that's really not a whole lot. They're going to bulk him up. That's a very quick thing to do. The nutrition guy will put some weight on him, and that's fine. But what I like about him is he has the ability to give Dak another blocker who can help with those edge rushers, to give him a little bit of a security blanket. And when the play does break down, he can come off that block and give Dak a short, quick, 3 or 4 yard dump pass, and get him out of a jam. And I think that's kind of where I see Ferguson as being the relief guy to Schultz, but they can still pass, block, but he's not going to be the great stud. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer tight end, but he will be a good guy to block. He'll give you. He does have the ability to catch the ball if you get in a jam, and I think that's where he's going to slide in as almost a second string guy behind Schultz when he needs a break.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Round 5. So if I remember right,
that was Waletzko, Matt
Yeah.
Waletzko, the offensive tackle out of North Dakota.
I was trying to remember. This isn't the 5th round pick we got for Amari, was it?
No, I
No.
don't. I did not see where it said for that, so I don't believe so. I think this is our natural pick selection.
Okay, because we have.
We also had another 5th rounder. I thought the 167th pick, or I thought pick 167 was the one that we got, but I might be wrong. I might be. I know they got one of those. It was either 167 or 155. I want to say it was 167 that we got in the trade for Cooper.
Yeah, because we have 4 5th round picks. We have most of our picks in the 5th round. We do have the 6th round, which I know we got, and I think that was actually our last one. Yeah, that was our last pick. Was the 6th round. So the 5th round we got Matt Waletzko from North Dakota. He's 6'7", he's 312 pounds. He started 29 out of 32 games at left tackle. The Cowboys said that Smith will play on the left side at guard and tackle. And last year's 4th rounder Josh Ball will also play on the right side. So he's more of a depth pick. So I mean, I'm not upset about this. This was one of those. It's like this was kind of the draft to rebuild your offensive line depth.
Right.
I didn't expect us to cut Lael Collins. I think that was letting Connor Williams go. Not upset about. I feel like we should have gone ahead and got Linderbaum to replace Biotish at the center. We could maybe even have moved him over to the guard and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and then draft some of these guys as depth to at least rotate out with Tyron Smith to, help a little bit in that regard. And I'll try to knock out all these 5th rounders real quick, and then I'll let you see what.
Yeah, that's fine.
Then in the 5th round, we get a corner. Next pick, we get a cornerback, Deron Bland out of Fresno State. He had 5 interceptions, 23 pass deflections in his career. He's 6 foot. He's 197 pounds. So obviously he, kind of fits those big cornerbacks that Dan Quinn likes. He also forced 4 fumbles. And again, he should hopefully kind of pair well with Kelvin Joseph. But he could be penalized for some personal conduct stuff with how rough he plays. They do get an inside linebacker in Damon Clark out of LSU, which I've heard from a lot of people that's supposed to be the Cowboys' worst pick is him. He had a spinal fusion surgery after a herniated disc was found at the combine. If he recovers, he had 135 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass deflections, and 1 interception just in 2021. So this seems more, and it even kind of mentioned it here, this kind of seems more like the Jalen Smith reach of maybe a high-risk, high-reward type player if it works out. And then the last 5th round pick is John Ridgway, his defensive tackle out of Arkansas. He did 1 year at Arkansas after being at Illinois State for 4 years. So he's one of those, he's going to be an older rookie, credited for 39 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks for Arkansas. Isn't apparently going to give much in the pass rusher, but is an exceptional run defender. So that's a good thing. If we can plug him in the interior, I think that'll help a lot, because I know that was one thing that was really killing Dallas last year was, yes, you could throw the ball on Trayvon Diggs in a 50-50 situation, but you could also gash Dallas for the run game with no issue. And that's been, and I know you've watched it and seen it. It's been an issue for Dallas for years, is they're terrible at stopping the run. But what do you think of those 4 guys? Because pretty much 3 of the 4 were on defense. We got 1 offensive guy out of the 5th round.
Yeah, so we'll go back and once we get to the 5th round, it starts to look a little, you start to look a little iffier on some things. Mm-hmm. But it is the 5th round, and that's where you start to look for your diamonds in the rough.
Yep.
So we'll go back to Waletzko. Again, he's a Hulk smash kind of guy. 6'7", 312, punish you, overpowers a pass rush. We're not looking at a lot of finesse and a lot of, whatever. He's just a straight power guy, and he's got a lot of size to him. He does have a great wingspan, which really is a good thing, especially on the offensive line. You want guys who have good wingspans to capture those guys. But again, he's going to Bruce, or I can't remember that guy's name. I got to go back. Joe Philbin is going to have his hands full developing Wallace-Go while he also develops Smith. So a couple of guys who have potential but are going to need a lot of development. And, again, could they pan out? You never know. Hey, we've seen other guys pan out late in the 5th round. So one thing he's got is height. But the problem with height, though, is because he is so tall, it's going to make it hard for him to block down low on those other defensive linemen coming up underneath him. And that could be a problem for him. So he's going to have to get those pads down in order to be able to do that. He's basically another Tyron Smith in terms of how big he is. I think Tyron is about 3 inches shorter, though. Yeah. But we'll see, man. Hey, and then we move into the 167th pick. Like you said, the cornerback, Darren Bland out of Fresno State, 4'5", 40. Got some decent speed. He could potentially get converted to safety from what I've heard. He excels in zone coverage. But he is a very aggressive and very physical type of guy, and that could get him into trouble with penalties if he's not careful. So he's going to have to refine some of his movements so he doesn't get beat on some of the routes. But again, the problem with Bland and what I think really kind of hurt his draft stock was the limited time that he was actually on the field. So there's not really a whole lot of footage out there on him to really get a good feel for him and how he's going to do. So he's basically going to be, in my opinion, a very wait and see kind of guy, and we'll see what we have probably a year or two down the road with Bland. And then we're moving in, like you said, the 176th pick, Clark, the linebacker, LSU. And this is the problem I have. Back injuries don't get better, and they don't go away.
Nope.
I'm sorry. They don't get better, and they don't go away. Go look at old laid-up Leighton Vander Esch and ask him about back injuries. So I don't like this pick. I mean, it's okay they got him at pick 5, 176, whatever, but damn, man. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about this guy because I don't see much of him really making a big difference in the lineup. So we're going to move on. Again, if you're drafting a guy who's already got back issues, disc issues, yeah, okay. Have a nice day.
Yep.
Pick 178, John Ridgeway, the nose tackle out of Arkansas. This is where I think it could be possibly a diamond in the rough. He's a wrestler, and I like wrestlers, especially on defense. They got great hand teeth, and they know how to move you left, right, up, and down. So, again, he's already got the wrestling technique, which is one part of being a defensive guy under his in his tool bag. I think lack explosiveness. He does like to get off speed to be a pass rusher. Gap discipline tends to be a problem for him, but he has a versatility to play on the edge or at the nose tackle. So I like the fact that he's versatile. I like the fact that he's a wrestler. He's going to be a guy who's going to need a lot of development, and if the Cowboys are patient with him and will put the time into him, could be that diamond that could be developed.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And yeah, especially with like you said, with the back injuries, like once you already kind of aggravate one herniated disc, it's like a domino effect, man. You're gonna aggravate more, you're gonna piss off more, you're gonna be more susceptible to do it again. Like think about people who you pop a shoulder out of socket. What are you more likely to do now once you've done that once? Pop a shoulder out of socket again. And it's gonna be the same thing. And I do agree about the tackle too. Yeah, apparently you do love those wrestlers, Jay, according to Damien.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not even gonna. I don't know. Wait. Why do we talk about this? Let's keep moving.
Right. Damn. Anyway, we'll move on to the last pick, round 6, number 193, Devin Harper. He's a linebacker at Oklahoma State. Said apparently he is going to miss his rookie season. They added linebacker depth. He's 6 foot. He's 234 pounds, so he's smaller. Which again, like you said, why pass on to Kobe Dean then? Because,
Yeah, exactly.
he's smaller. He's got injury history, but you see the talent. You see the potential that's there. But in his one season as a full-time starter, which also makes me very skeptical, he had 96 tackles, 6 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, and 15 quarterback pressures. Was at his best in one of the biggest games. He had 10 tackles against Oklahoma and Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. So he's depth, but he's undersized depth. He doesn't have much experience. I get it. College is competitive. You're not going to always have a chance to start. Like some of these guys, you just get your opportunity, you make the best of what you can. But it's like, why? Like you kept Leighton, which I don't know why you did that. You didn't go after, I get not going after Bobby Wagner. He's a little bit older. He wanted a lot of money. I get not wanting to pay that. You didn't go after some of these other linebackers, but you take the risk on the guy with a screwed up back. You take a risk with a small dude. Now, don't get me wrong.
No, I'm serious. I agree. You don't have to be wrong. You stand behind that because it's true. It's all true.
And it's. Do you remember back the 2013s, the early 2010s, kind of late? Philly was always known for having a really small but quick defense.
Yeah,
but they could go get you.
Remember Dak Wynn? Was it Dak Wynn that we had? That he was under 6 feet that we had at linebacker at one time. The guy out of A&M, I think his name was Dak Wynn.
Oh yeah. I think I remember what you're talking about.
Asian guy, right? Yeah. I mean, literally under. It was like 5'8" or something like that. 5'8", 5'7". Linebacker. Yeah. He was on our starting rotation for a while.
Yeah. So it's like, don't get me wrong, you can make some of these guys work, but now it's like you look at some of these running backs, and that was the other thing I'm kind of mad about with Dallas. He ain't get a freaking running back. Who, Zeke has the wear and tear, and I get it. I love Tony Pollard, I do, but you're going to have to pay that man. You have to pay him eventually. And who in the hell else are you going to rotate through? Corey Clement is not the damn guy, and you can't do just a 2 running back set.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm right there with you. And I don't know if Jerry and maybe they're thinking, hey, we'll come back and pick that up in next year's draft. Maybe he thinks he can get through one more year with what he has, and then we'll address it next year. I mean, hey, that's fine too. I'm okay with it as long as you address it within either this year or next. I mean, we still got depth on there, but Dan, you're gonna have to. As far as this 6-rounder guy goes, they have him slated at best at special teams. I don't think he cracks a rotation within the linebacking group. But here's the deal, man. It's the 6th-round pick, and you don't even get invited to a combine. And the only reason they drafted you is because they liked what you said at a meeting. Okay, whatever. I could put on a good interview for anybody if I have to, if I'm knowledgeable enough. I don't know if that's going to be enough to draft him. But here's the deal. I think that they probably are going to give him a shot at special teams. And if he doesn't do it there, I think they eventually cut him. And I think he's just done all the way around.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat was scratching the
no, I did the same thing with my cat.
Because she's an ass.
Mine's a dick. What is it with cats anyway? Why are cats assholes? Dogs are beautiful. Cats are assholes. I don't know what it is about them.
It's one of those. Did you know that we domesticated dogs for a purpose? We never actually domesticated cats. Cats domesticated themselves, and then later we ended up figuring out, oh hey, we can use these cats for farms and stuff. To get rid of mice, but yeah, for the most part,
it makes sense. It does. Kill all the rats.
Yeah, they have no other benefit to us humans other than just being cute, and for us to apparently to self-torture ourselves with animals that are we're just gonna destroy your stuff. We're gonna scratch you. We're just gonna puke and poop wherever we want to, and you're just gonna enjoy it. You're not gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, that is cats in a nutshell. But I love my dog Blue, but he's you know what? I was paying ADT for a while, and then I got this dog. And this dog, if you come within 3 feet of the door, he's on you like white on rice paper. And I was like, you know what? Let's just cancel ADT and keep the damn dog.
Oh yeah, Mom. We ended up. So when I was moving from Ohio, I got a big old U-Haul, and we had it sitting in Mom's driveway. About 2:00 in the morning, Mom gets a notification on her alarm system that somebody's just standing out in the driveway. It's 2 a.m. It's pouring rain. This man's in a poncho, just hanging out there, just staring. Mom turns the light on and turns the camera on, and she has an 80-pound German Shepherd. And he knows that when that notification goes off that somebody's out there that ain't supposed to be out there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So mom was like, I could. Oh yeah, Dak Nguyen. That's who.
Yeah, Dak Nguyen. I think I said Dak, but Dak. But they got to see put a T in. That was pretty close.
But yeah, Mom was like, I could have talked to him through the camera. She's like, but do I really want to shoot somebody? I was like, no, but Brutus wants a chew toy.
No, but Tony, back to the Cowboys real quick. I think if I had to grade this draft, from the Cowboys, I'm gonna give them a C, man. Yeah. But maybe like a 75. I'm gonna give it right across 75. Not a C minus, not a C plus, but just a basic C.
Yeah. I personally, to me, it's like compared to everybody else in our division, I give the Giants and Philly an A. I give us and Washington a C. It's like I don't even think Washington did that bad. Now I was upset because I did a mock draft and I was right that at number 11 that Chris Olave was going to go and he was going to go to Washington, and then Washington jacked it up and New Orleans got the pick and they picked Chris Olave. So I was right, but he went to
he had the right position, just the wrong team because of the trade.
I know. I was so mad. I was like, Washington, you screwed this up for yourselves because you lost out on a good wide receiver.
Yeah, they
screwed me out of the mock draft because I already got the Drake London pick right, and I was going to get this one right too, and y'all jacked it up.
If you're Wentz and you're sitting at home or whatever he's doing watching the draft, do you get pissed off because he doesn't get Olave? I mean, damn.
Oh,
he's like crap.
But again, you want to know what my favorite thing was out of that whole entire draft? The Packers had 2 first-round picks. They spent them on defense again.
Yep. and if you're Aaron Rodgers, you're sitting at home thinking like, okay, we just lost Devontae Adams. We just lost the other guy. I can't even remember his name, but they lost 2 wide receivers.
Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, there you go. And he's probably thinking like, well, who the hell am I going to throw? And then you take 2. It's almost like Jordan Love 2.0, but instead of a quarterback, you went defense. You still didn't give me no wide receivers to throw the ball to. And then you bring in a Sammy Watkins or whatever, and that's it. I think they did get a wide receiver, but it was like, what, second or third round, something like that?
No, second round out of North Dakota State. And I'm kind of laughing. I'm like.
And that's not going to be anybody that Aaron's going to give a damn about.
No. And I'm like, North Dakota State ain't bad, but it's like, other than Carson Wentz, name me a big player that's come out of North Dakota State here of lately.
No, yeah, right. No, I get it. I get it. And because what quarterbacks has he really seen?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was probably my best thing. I'm like, Dallas could have a terrible draft. The Packers did way worse, and it makes me happy.
Oh, they did way worse.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be miserable.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, Packers, hey, I'm not expecting much from the Packers next year. Or this year coming up, I should say. I'm not expecting much. I really am not. As a matter of fact, like you said, man, I really think Jalen Hurts has no I know we're off topic, but Jalen Hurts has no reason to fail. If he fails to deliver, with the lineup that they've given him, with the weapons that they've given him, not only on offense but on defense, if these guys don't advance to, they should at least win the division. I hate to say that. I'm a Cowboys fan, diehard. But honestly, I feel like what Philadelphia is putting on the product that they're putting out is better than the product we're putting out.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
Like I say,
and that pisses me off.
And I'll be honest with you. If the Giants could figure out their quarterback situation, and if they could figure out the wide receiver room, I could very easily see the division going to the Giants or Philly, and Dallas may or may not sneak into second place, maybe third. I still have Washington at the bottom. Washington will stay at the bottom until they figure out how to not suck. But yeah, I think I agree with you. Philly, I thought last year, even with all the pieces that Philly lost, and with Jalen being his first full year, I thought Philly did great considering the fact that they're in the NFC East. They finished with a winning record, and they went into the playoffs, and they were supposed to be a bottom feeder team for at least another 2 years, and they did a quick 180. And
right. But you know what really makes me mad is I felt like we overpaid for Zeke.
Yep.
We overpaid for Dak.
Yep.
Amari Cooper I'm gonna say we don't pay for him because he didn't even hit 1,000 yards last year. Now, granted, you can say the double teams and all that, but I still think that between those three players, we so overspent on those that we did not give ourselves any flexibility to go after any kind of free agency.
Yeah, and it's one of those I get why, because free agency is one of those is very hit and miss. You can overpay for a dude, and maybe it's just he was in a great system. Maybe he just got lucky his first few years. Now he gets because you ever notice whenever guys get big money, all
they
their
drop
production goes down.
There should be a clause, Tony. There should be a clause in these contracts, these big, massive contracts that says, "Hey, look, as long as if your production level stays at this level that you're doing, and it should be tiered because I understand as you get older, production will tear down, but there should be and some high tech brainiac guy that can figure this math out." But the contract should be structured that you have to be able to perform at this level throughout the length of the contract. And if you don't, then your pay will reflect.
Or I'll be honest. So, like, you look at Aaron Donald, you look at Khalil Mack, and T.J. Watt. Those are one of the few players that I've seen. They got a mega max contract, reset the whole entire market, and they continue to produce where they're supposed to.
Because those are the players that really give a damn. They're more into the game. Not that the money's not a big part, because the money is, but they care about their craft so much that the money's a bonus, but the quality of what they're putting out, they put that pride into it. And a lot of players don't. They're a paycheck person, and that's it.
Yeah. Like if it was me, like you said, I'm putting a clause in there. Like if I'm the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers and I sign TJ Watt to his max deal, okay, TJ, at minimum, if you want to get that money, you owe me 8 sacks. I ain't gonna ask for if you get more than 8, awesome. You get your full benefit. Hell, I'll even throw in some incentive bonuses to get you some more money. But you owe me a minimum of 8. I ain't gonna ask for 10 because anything past 10, that's a lot. Like that's a lot of hard, especially with a lot of these big offensive lines. You may or may not get that. I just want 8. That's all I ask.
Right.
But
and these guarantees that we're giving these guys are so so astronomical that it's great. Like they almost can just say, you know what? Even if I don't get the full contract, even if I just get the guaranteed money, hell, I'm good. I can go out there and do whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
I definitely think that these contracts, they lack control measures. And I think that they don't put the control measures in. And I think these owners are so afraid that, well, if I put this control measure in there, he's definitely not going to sign this contract. And he'll go sign with this other team because they don't. And I think that's why we haven't seen it as of right now. But if I was the owners, I would have a meeting with all the owners in the entire NFL and be like, hey, look, guys, let's all get on the same accord. And we're going to put control measures in these contracts. That way, one's not competing against the other. What do you say? I don't know. I'm doing something.
Yeah. And I get why they do the guarantee because, obviously it's not forever. They want all the money up front. They want to do investments. They want to be able to buy stuff. They want to be able to be set for when they retire. I get that. But, yeah, I agree. And I guess that's just us being from a fan perspective and also looking at it from a business perspective.
Right.
But, yeah, because and even though we've seen owners band together on some stuff, we've seen them be like, nope, I want to win. I'll stab you behind the back and we'll figure it out later type thing. So, but yeah, I agree. I think we overpaid on Zeke. I don't think we overpaid on Amari. I think we should have kept Amari, maybe restructured. I think we should have restructured Lael. Honestly, I think we should cut DeMarcus Lawrence. Like he makes a difference, but he ain't been the same since he got paid. He has
absolutely
hurt. He's not. We overpaid for
he's definitely lost a step. D-Law has lost a step.
To me, we overpaid for what I would call a B+ talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think that, Dallas is really need to – I think Jerry Jones, I think Stephen Jones, somebody needs to pull them Jones brothers aside and say, hey, look, guys, we got to revamp how we run this organization. That will never happen because the Joneses are the Joneses. But good God, man. I mean, honestly, we really have to rethink the way we're running these Cowboys. Obviously, because what we're doing is not working. It hasn't worked in over 20, 30 years. So, I mean,
I think that's the thing that kind of frustrates me with Jerry was when they're like, have you thought about stepping away? Have you thought about, putting in a general manager? Well, if I put in a general manager being the same Jerry Jones now, then I shouldn't have been the Jerry Jones that managed to get us 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. Okay, Jerry, It's been 32 years. You've won another Super Bowl. The definition of insanity, sir, is continuing to do the same thing and hoping you get
Exactly.
You're insane, sir.
Exactly. No, you're right. And it's just the way we spend money and the way we draft has really been hurting this team for quite some time now, honestly.
Well, and the bad part is they showed the stat. We've drafted more Pro Bowlers than any other team. We've drafted more All Pros than any other team. But what has it gotten us? Like we haven't gotten anything for it. Like, yeah, we get these all-star players, we get these Hall of Fame players easily, but you don't do anything with it. Like, you don't.
Right.
Yes, we do typically draft well. We do really well with that, but we overpay for some of this talent. It's like, no, why did we make Dak the highest paid quarterback in the league? Like, why?
And as you can see, he's great in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, man, once we get to the playoffs, it's like, yep, there we go. It's almost like James Harden. Great in the regular season.
James
disappears
Harden,
in the playoffs.
Aaron Rodgers, Jay Cutler, all of it. It's like, yep, you can do great. Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan, you can do great in the playoff, great in the regular season.
Right.
In the playoffs, you are choking to no end.
Yeah, because Peyton would not have gotten that second Super Bowl had it not been for the defense and the running back of that team. I mean, they really, really pulled him out because he didn't throw for a lot of yardage. It was very, very pedestrian yardage that he did in the Super Bowl, but their defense did enough, and the running game did enough that it got him the win. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm hoping that some of these draft picks work out to be better. I'm hoping the offseason is good. Like I said, it's going to sound really bad. I can't wait till Jerry Jones takes we're going to call it a vacation. I don't want to wish nothing negative on nobody, but we're going.
He said he needs to take a long nap.
Long nap. Take a long walk off of a short pier, as we'll put it.
And take your son with you. Make sure you put your son down too. And let's get some new people in there that are out of their naps.
Some fresh blood.
Yeah, no, really though, the Cowboys are in desperate need of fresh blood. Honestly, we really are, and that's not even putting it mildly. That's just being dead honest.
Yeah, we're one of those. It kind of reminds me of like a nursing home, where it's like you got all these people that back in the day, yeah, they were the bee's knees, man. They were everything and above.
Right
now, it's like, yeah, you used to be back in the day, not no more. This is why you in the retirement home, sir.
Man, you ain't lying, brother. You ain't lying.
Take your pills to remember the 70s and the 90s. Take your pills.
Hell, at this point, I'd be happy just to get past the first damn round at this point.
I'd be happy if we just sniffed an NFC championship. Like
that would be great.
We could get blown out if we just make it. Like I feel like
make it, man. Just get there so you can say you did something more than what you did the last 30 some odd years. I mean, like you said, it's the definition of insanity, man.
And I feel bad because it reminds me of like the Jags, the Lions, like all these teams that they, hell, even the Jags got to a championship recently. It's like just do something. And it's like we're one of the best franchises ever. We have like the most win. We had some of the best winning percentage, best playoff rate, like all this different stuff that freaking Tom Brady just comes through in like 20 years and beats.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, he said he need Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones need to get on the yacht and go to the Bermuda Triangle for a couple of years."
Yeah, just get sucked up in that little vortex, come back, and be like, start new, start fresh. But yeah, man, we'll see. But I think this is all the time we're gonna do because we figured it'd be a short drive because there wasn't a whole lot of positive things to me to talk about as far as the draft goes. But we'll get started as some of the OTAs and training camp. Obviously, there'll be some more more news.
Oh yeah,
we're Dallas. Well, obviously, I don't know if you see them, but we're always linked to some big free agent trade. I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
No.
We were supposed to be linked to Debo. Obviously, that ain't gonna happen. We were supposed to be linked to Deion Jones.
Ain't got no money to pay Debo.
Yeah, we ain't got no money. We ain't got no picks, and Jerry ain't trading.
We barely were struggling to get the lights turned on. What we talking?
Exactly. So yeah, we'll be back though. As always, brother, it's been an enjoyment, and we will see y'all when we come back. We don't really know when, but we'll be back about when the summertime starts. We'll be back.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, y'all. Well, y'all have a good night. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to all the ASAP stuff. We always got a ton of stuff going on. We got our show Bring It going on right now. Jay hosts Unscripted, which is on Mondays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays, Thursdays at 7 Eastern, and Saturdays at 8 Eastern.
And I do Jawing and Balling every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. All of ASAP has great shows. We have an all-female show that goes on. We have a morning show. We have an afternoon show. We are going to be starting a night show here soon that I'm going to be co-hosting. So a lot of great content. Like, share, subscribe it. We're also on TV. If you ever want to sponsor us, if you ever want to come on as a guest, feel free to reach out to us. If you ever want to work with us, just let us know. But all of y'all have a great night, and we will see y'all next time.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces.